Wisconsin Eye's coverage of Campaign 2014 is being brought to you by the Wisconsin Hospital Association. For over 90 years, a valued voice supporting Wisconsin hospitals in communities like yours.
Wisconsin Eye coverage of the 2014 elections continues with an interview with Peter Vedro, He's a Democrat from Baraboo. He's running in the 81st Assembly District. Mr. Vedro, welcome to Wisconsin Eye.
Thank you so much.
Give us a short version of your bio and qualifications.
Well, first of all, I'm running as an unapologetic progressive. I believe that we can state issues that are most important to the larger community and be elected, and I have done that 3 times. I'm 65 years old. I'm basically retired. I have devoted the last several years of my life to public service, and I plan to continue to do that for as long as I am able. My dad made it to 98. It gives me about 33 more years to continue to shake the bush and be a rabble-rouser in the name of justice and social and political and economic forward movement.
What local office do you now hold?
I am a twice elected member to the Baraboo School Board, so I have a keen understanding of what happens when the channel of funding to our public schools is strangled, what we have to struggle with. And Baraboo is in a good situation compared to most. But this strangling of the flow of monies to public education is absolutely unacceptable.
Let's talk about that. Let's land on K12 issues first. I want to ask the question this way. School vouchers or choice? As you're aware, it went statewide with an enrollment cap of 1,000 outside the cities of Milwaukee and Racine. What should the future of school choice and vouchers be in the next budget, sir?
If there is any expansion, it should be under the umbrella of public schools. I am an educator. I've taught for 20 years. I've sat on school boards. I believe that our public institutions, and especially our public education institutions, in many ways have been sold a bill of goods, not only by those who are trying to privatize public education, but within the educational movement itself. We have lost sight of the fact that our children have many ways to succeed. The arts, music, drama, sports, all of the other what used to be called extracurricular activities lead young people to find themselves, to find their bliss. And when they find their bliss, you can teach them anything. This movement toward standardized testing and toward the evaluation not only of students but of teachers and schools in general by standardized testing has been debunked over and over again, and yet our state legislature and our educational system has been pushed in that direction again and again. As an educator, I think it's unacceptable. Choice and voucher schools outside of the umbrella of our public education system, which is in our state constitution, is an abomination, and especially when it is supported by our tax dollars.
Well, as someone who spent decades in a classroom, how do you feel about Common Core standards? Good thing?
I am not against Common Core standards. I think that we need to find a way nationally to arrive at what I call the 20% that does the 80. Pareto's law. You know, what are the big rocks that we all, as citizens of the United States, need to be aware of and educated about? Those don't exist anymore. There are hardly any civics classes. There's hardly any discussion of the political systems. There's hardly any discussion anymore about the most important things to young people, which is how to take care of their bodies, how to be preventative. These are critical things. As an educator and as a school board member, I believe schools are the last bastion of hope for our young people. We should be devoting more, not less, public support to our schools, because that is the ground zero of how we can help our young people grow positively and avoid most of the pitfalls of adolescence.
Let's talk about health care. As you know, the governor and the state senate and assembly leaders chose not to accept the federal government's offer to expand MA. Wise choice or unwise choice?
Well, let's talk about shooting yourself in the foot. You know, I mean, we've already paid those tax dollars. Why are those tax dollars not coming back to us? It's ideology, and it is not only absurd not to accept it, it is evil in my definition. It is evil to deprive our citizens from health care, taxes which we have already paid into the coffer, not to accept them back by ideology. That alone should oust our current governor.
Transportation. There's a projected $650 million deficit in the next budget, the 2015-2017 budget, in transportation funding. Should we delay highway projects, or do you want to raise any taxes?
Here is a way of looking at it. We have to look at it differently, I think. Two things. I sit on the Economic Development Commission of both the Baraboo Economic Development Commission and our Sauk County. So I have a unique perspective, again, sitting on those bodies that help me understand, I think, a little bit more than others. We have millions of people who come to our state, if we look at our tourism dollars, and they come from a variety of states surrounding us, most of which have toll roads. Why is it that those citizens of other states pay tolls all the way up to our border and then get a free ride to enjoy what we have? I am not opposed to having some toll roads in Wisconsin that are designed to capture some revenue from out-of-state people who already are familiar with and are paying tolls through iPass, and simply to pass through another toll. I think that would give us both an increased sense of revenue, and it would allow us to do things that we're not doing statewide. We're focusing on our interstate highways, but we're doing nothing with our public roads, our county roads, all of which are in terrible disrepair. Further, the most important thing is we need to rethink automobiles. We need to go back. How could we not take also the $900 million from the federal government for fast rail that would connect our cities? We look at what Europe has done. I'm not suggesting we need to, quote, follow Europe, but you don't have to be a brain scientist to understand. If you look for best practices, there are answers here if you stop and give some thought to what is best for the communities and our citizens versus the monolithic corporations that are receiving all kinds of monies.
You know that the State Secretary of Transportation has said toll roads is not an option because it would take a change in federal law, not state law.
Well, I think we need to move toward that direction.
Okay.
I mean, it's a step.
Your reaction to Judge Crabb's ruling that the constitutional provision against same-sex marriage is unconstitutional, your reaction?
Of course. I think our new generation is clearly indicated by the numbers of our general population that love is all you need, and that the state and the federal government have no decision-making in how that is defined within the context of same-sex marriage. We're moving into a new era. I think it's a great era. I see it in our schools with the embracing of difference and LGBT activities with young people in high school and in colleges, and I encourage those young people to become much more politically engaged because it is their future that is being defined by older generations that come from a completely different orientation.
I see from your website one of your priorities is environmental justice. I want to ask you about two issues. Mining, because Senator Schultz has said that eventually somebody may want to mine the Baraboo Hills, which is in your district, if you were elected, and frac sand mining. So first let's talk about mining.
Well, my three platforms are what I call the 3 E's. They are economic justice, educational justice, and environmental justice, and specifically to reverse the mining bill, to give local authority to communities to determine what will happen in their communities. We've been overrun by money in every way, shape, open form in our political system, and that has got to come to an end. The saving grace that the Founding Fathers gave us was one person, one vote. That is being taken away from us as well. And if we look at where it is being taken away from us, it is being taken away from the industrialists who wish to have within the legislatures their puppets who will vote for the legislation they want for the big bucks, regardless of its impact on local communities and on the environment in general. I am absolutely opposed to a continuation of that.
I want to ask you about two issues that have surfaced in the Capitol, although they've not been voted on. What's your position on raising Wisconsin's minimum wage, Mr. Vedro?
I think we have to have a living wage.
And that you would take it to where, sir?
I believe that we need to take best practices and move it well above the federal minimum. We need to recognize that we have a responsibility to ensure that people who are working full-time are able to afford the food, the housing, the clothing that would entail. We had a vibrant middle class. We had a vibrant service class. All of those have been decimated. Again, if you look at history, and our recent history, you'll see follow the money. Who's benefiting from it all? That has to come to an end.
Would you take it higher than the $10.10 an hour that's in Senator Roach's bill?
I would. I think there is enough dollars available to provide more of a support to the people that are working full time.
One of the Democratic candidates for Attorney General has said first offense drunken driving should be a crime. Your position on that?
I have struggled with that a little bit. I would agree. I think that we in Wisconsin, as a tavern state, have enjoyed a lot of lax enforcement. And we need to create an environment for a new generation of people, especially our young people, to protect them. I think more than a slap on the wrist is necessary to wake people up.
Two final questions. Is there any major campaign issue that you're running on that I haven't asked about, sir?
Well, education is deeply important to me, both as an educator and a member of the school board. As I said, I believe we've been sold a bill of goods, and I think we need to rethink how we're going to approach that. We have lost the sight of our responsibilities to educate all of our young people in citizenship and in being effective citizens, understanding the political systems. I'm a student of behavioral economics, and I understand how easy it is these days to wire people in very subtle ways, the hidden persuaders of the 50s, if you will, which has now become much more psychologically astute to move people to do things that are against their best interests. And we have to fight that. We have to educate. My fundamental philosophy as an educator is we must teach our children discernment, because they can find anything they wish on the instruments of technology which they have, anything, but they cannot determine whether those are truthful, wise, meaningful or not.
And then my final question, do you want to highlight any differences between your two opponents and yourself?
Yes, I think they're wonderful people. I know them both. The differentiation between myself and them is that I have won 3 elections in the public arena, and my colleagues one has never run for any public office, and my other colleague has run for an office in her own district and lost. I believe that what we need in the legislature is not just the vote for a progressive movement, but we need an articulate voice that can inspire other districts to do what we have done, which is to raise the progressive flag and bring the vote and take back the legislature.
Peter Vedro of Baraboo is a Democrat running in the 81st Assembly District. Mr. Vedro, thanks for talking to Wisconsin Eye.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.